They rose to the challenge. They did, a great job at executing the plan. And, one thing that I always get concerned with when you go into the state tournament is just obviously the size of the gym and the serving. And that's kind of been a discussion when you watch a lot of the stuff about the serving at the state game. And I thought we did a great job. But one thing I really tried to do this year, and obviously we knew Athens was a big, nice gym, and so that prepared them. But even when we played Dodge City, I wanted to play in Kaufman because I knew that it was a big gym and I just wanted to try to set them up to be because serving is a big deal for us and it scores us a lot of points. And so I wanted to be able to have that. And I mean, it paid off for us. I think this year we probably missed some of the least amount of serves that any of my teams in the state championship have missed. So it was good. Just it was a great finish, obviously. Sorry.
Yeah, you're okay. Take your time.
Uh, she's been through a lot, the injuries and stuff that she's had to push through. And so it was just a nice exclamation to for her to know that it was worth it and for me too.
Yeah, that's awesome. And she had surgery the next day?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we knew pretty much that since the beginning of the season that she was gonna have to have it. And pretty much the choices were that Friday or December 5th, and we just talked about that was 2 extra weeks of getting better and, you know, the quicker she could get released. I mean, not that I mean, track's not huge to her as far as like trying to accomplish something at this point, but we did talk about that if she could do track, just having that competition and not trying to just get back in shape all alone would be nice. And so those 2 extra weeks could make a difference in her being able to do that. And so that's kind of why we chose just to go ahead and do it right the day after. Obviously, I put the like you said the own pressure on myself that we want to do that every season and that's been the goal. But obviously it was not really pressure, but just the thought of how cool it would be to go out winning like that and with the seniors getting a win and I've talked about it multiple times, just this group being really special to me and getting to do that. We have a pretty new group of girls that didn't have a lot of experience, but they were, part of it before and that kind of thing. And so I just thought it'd be really cool for those girls to get to win it as well and me to get to be a part of that before I was done.
Nice.
I mean, it wasn't pressure. It was just hoping to get to experience that with this group of girls. A little bit, like I said, this year, the lack of experience and just not being a part of that. But, all these girls have been a part of this program. There's not really any new ones as far as that's concerned. So, even if they weren't playing on the varsity, they were on the JV and getting challenged and beat a lot on the JV. And so I don't, they were never too down on themselves as far as the winning and losing, and they did a pretty good job of understanding what it would accomplish. And, they have watched, even if they weren't playing, and seen what it did to pay off for the older ones. And so, really, I was pretty surprised at how well this group handled it because we did lose more than the groups have in the last few years. And so, but it kind of balanced itself out by the end. And so, for a while, our record looked pretty rough, but
Mm,
by the end of it, we had 30 wins, and so it
sure.
wasn't terrible, but
Yeah,
they did good with it. Really kind of, I mean, obviously there was moments preseason, but to me, the big moment to me during the playoffs was in the state or the regional final and the state semifinal that weekend. Just, the scouting report and what we had gone over and watched in film, and just to really watch them execute those plans and do things was just really cool. And I mean, that was really the point where I was like, everything we did and all we worked on all season really took shape in that. And then it, carried on into the championship game for sure. I would say maybe like towards the end of last year, just knowing like with Kinsley playing and kind of watching some of my previous players playing in college and just kind of their schedule and you know, I know a few coaches that are friends at the junior college level and just kind of seeing their schedule and knowing, especially in August, that if I wanted to be able to watch Kinsley, that's also a super busy time for a high school coach. And if I was coaching still, I would probably miss almost all of her stuff in August. And I just had a hard time with that because one, I've never missed anything,
Mm,
Kinsley's, and then so and just wanting to get to be a mom because she has as a daughter sacrificed a lot being a coach's kid and that kind of thing. So I
sure.
would say kind of the summer was kind of when I really decided, or in the spring, that that was probably the best thing for me. At first, no, but when we hired Emma, and it was kind of a hard thing to not have it come out and that kind of thing. And so, there wasn't ever really like a sit down and tell the girls. Now, in the spring when it's kind of said and done, I will sit down and kind of, but I mean, it's small, we're close. It's not anything that, we've kind of had one-on-one discussions and they know it and that kind of thing, but it wasn't like a big sit down to do that this was going to be it, but they
Yeah,
all knew that. For sure. Probably before, I mean, obviously everyone knows my daughter's going to be my favorite, obviously, but lots of talk, in our community and just through the girls I've coached, that Emma and a couple of girls that were on that state track team, or two, we won back-to-back state titles when she was in high school in track, and it's kind of been talked about that that was kind of one of my favorite groups. So, to hand it off to Emma and know what she's done as an athlete here in Blum, and that she gets the dedication and what it takes and she has the love for Blum. I'm just really excited for her to see what she does. It's been awesome. I didn't move here till I was a junior in high school, and so I wasn't born and raised here. And but the 2 years I was here, I loved it. I loved being around Jeff, and so I knew pretty quick I was a nursing major, but I knew pretty quick I was coming back and helping Jeff with stuff, and I was here keeping the book or the clock at the games, and so I switched my major. And from that moment, I knew that. I mean, obviously, this is where I wanted to be when I was in college. I didn't know if that was going to happen, but when it did, it was awesome. And then, 3 years in, Jeff's like, I'm ready to, or on the third year, was ready to get into the admin side of things, and he was like, I want you to take over. And I'm like, I'm not ready. I'm too young, I don't know enough yet. And he was like, you'll be fine. And obviously sometimes then I didn't think I was ready, but um we got it figured out. But I do love it here, and I still am gonna love it even if I'm not coaching. A lot of people tell me it probably won't last long. Uh, so we'll see how that part goes. But I mean, I know for sure it'll be for 2 years because I'm gonna do that part for sure. But I have talked a little bit about still helping some with track just because that doesn't conflict with Kinsley playing. But I mean, for sure,
yeah.
love Blum. Yes, I mean, like, and me and Jeff have had that conversation just about, like most coaches when they retire from coaching are older or they're really burnout or whatever. And he's like, I just don't see that with you. And, so yes, for sure, I would never say never. And, you never know what's going to happen, or, that kind of thing. People have asked me, would you coach somewhere else, or,
Mm,
like that kind of thing. And so, I mean, obviously, I'm leaving all my options open, and you don't know what the future holds, but I know for 2 years I'm going to watch my kid play and enjoy that, and then we'll see what happens after that.
yeah.
I've told another media outlet that I, would love to coach at the college level, but I don't know. I'm not probably not moving anywhere. So,
Mm.
that kind of thing. But you never know what's going to come up.